John Fetterman helps Democrats flip the state of Pennsylvania. The only on the board from either party so far. Other key Senate races remain uncalled. Georgia and Wisconsin, too close to call. Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, too early to call. Democrats currently lead the count, 48 seats to 47.
Wait a second.
I know.
Wait a second.
What happened? Wait.
I don't understand. Michael Steele, you ran a party.
I did.
In off-year elections. I mean, I'm here because of an off-year election.
Yeah.
They usually even elect people like me, David Plouffe, in off-year elections.
Yeah.
I'm serious. There's always a wave. There was a wave in 82 and 86 with Ronald Reagan. Against Reagan, there was a wave against Barack Obama. Yeah. There's a wave. Well, I don't understand this. Democrats are still...
Yeah.
They still have a chance of holding on to the Senate?
This wasn't even a good ripple.
Come on.
This, yeah.
There's not a red wave.
It's not a red wave.
Maybe a little bit of spotting. That's it.
Spotting, a good puddle in some corners. That's about the best you're going to get.
Spray paint. Let's spray paint around.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's
Hey, Donald Trump. Hey, Donald Trump.
He doesn't watch.
Meet Boris Johnson. I mean, there was a coronation last night, probably as grand as King Charles III's coronation is going to be in the spring. And it was Ron DeSantis in Florida. Massive victory down there, right? Unfortunately, Donald Trump lost the rest of America. Now, I'm not going to say this is the end of Donald Trump, but there are a lot of Republicans this morning waking up going, wait a second, Ron DeSantis is winning Miami-Dade outright and winning 20 percentage points in this state historically, while Donald Trump is tweeting, cheering against Republicans. I don't think last night was a good win for Donald.
No, it was a bad night for him. It was not a red wave. Don't take our word for it. Lindsey Graham was on NBC last night saying, whoo, this did not go the way we thought it was going to go. This was not a red wave. That's Lindsey Graham saying that. That's one thing. The governor's races that people were concerned about, New York, Kathy Hochul held on here, Wisconsin, Michigan, where there were election deniers running, they lost there. So election denialism was on the ballot, and it lost overwhelmingly last night. Time and time again. And to your point, Ron DeSantis winning by almost 20 points in Florida, remaking the map, remaking the Obama coalition, flipping by 20 points from a couple of years ago, Latino voters. It would appear this morning this is Ron DeSantis' party and not Donald Trump's.
Yeah, it's not Donald Trump's. I mean, everything Trump touches politically dies.
Yes.
He lost in 17. He lost local races,
the negative
Senate races. Lost in 18. He lost governorships in the South in 19. He lost in 20. And now, of course, 22. Just a massive loss. I want to talk, though, about something I didn't hear enough about last night, Jen, and that is how the final polls were showing that Dobbs, the overturning
didn't matter.
of a woman's right,
yes.
right, didn't matter. Now, I mean, David Plouffe and other people that are a lot smarter than me will always say you don't know exactly who the electorate's going to be. And that's why we shouldn't kick pollsters around. You never know if populists are going to go to the polls in more. But last night, early on, you started seeing what did voters today think were the most important issues? Abortion, 35%. You know, what?
It does turn out.
And what happened was those were the people pollsters didn't reach. I didn't hear that enough last night.
Yeah.
Dobbs made a huge difference. And I think every Democrat should send a pie to a member of the Federalist Society that they know, because the Federalist Society
You know what? We'll bring
elected
one to Leonard.
Yes, we'll have City.
Can
bring
we
one to
cookies to the Supreme Court
and
too.
cookies to the no. Seriously, this was the quiet revolution, the silent majority, even in states like Kentucky.
Yes, we do not know in Kentucky, a state where Joe Biden was walloped in 2020, whether or not they're going to protect a woman's right to choose. That is amazing.
Hello.
It was a huge night for abortion rights across the country. I mean, women voted in droves. In a number of states, that right is now protected. In a number of states that are unexpected, and it also drove a number of people to victory. So, yes, well, people said a few weeks ago that it didn't matter, that it was fading. It didn't. Turns out that wasn't right.
Number one issue in exit polls in the state of Pennsylvania was abortion. Number one issue for John Fetterman and also for Josh Shapiro, who won big. David, let you take it wherever you want. You've got the smart mind about what happens from here and what happened last night. But independents, a fascinating number there. In off-year elections, the out party usually loses independents by wide margins. Early on here this morning, we're seeing Democrats winning by a couple of points, holding on to those votes.
Well, the lesson is there are more conservatives in every swing district and swing state than there are liberals. So the math is simple. Democrats have to do at least enough on turnout. They have to win the middle of the electorate everywhere. And they were able to do that last night, I think, in part or largely because of abortion. The other thing is voters under 30. I think they were underrepresented in polls.
Yep.
And so, you know, if our democracy is saved and we sit here on January 21st, 2025, after the presidential election, we have a democracy, we need to thank young people who turned out to protect the enterprise.
And if you talk to Democrats, they would say these are the states we're most worried about. All right? Wisconsin. A lot of Democrats were saying this summer, Evers isn't going to be able to hold on. Michigan. Whitmer was in the fight for her life against somebody who said a 14-year-old girl getting raped by her uncle was a perfect reason to not let her have an abortion. And then Pennsylvania. I mean, you look at those three states and how they're going to be run in 24. That sweep, a lot of people may not be talking about it this morning, is massive.
And the big difference first of all, Tony Evers beat his 2018 margin, which is actually pretty amazing, right? Nobody thought he was going to win, and he beat his 2018 margin.
And can we stop for 1 second and just say, in an environment, worst inflation since 1982, an economy that's reeling and moving towards a recession, a stock market that's crashing, and yes, crime, people feeling less comfortable in cities than ever before. And that's the environment Democrats won in.
They did. And now, all the states you mentioned, Joe, what's really important, I think, is that that could have gone in the direction of election deniers, people who did not want the will of the public to determine who they would elect, being the Secretary of State or the governor, or determining how people could vote, how easily they could vote, and whether or not they would certify the outcome in 2024. That was potentially headed in that direction in all of those states. And victory, democracy won out, which is a good news.
Well, we're still counting votes in this election, but my mind, of course, goes to the next election. So the other thing it shows, you just mentioned how tough the economy is. Listen, I hope Democrats find a way forward in Florida. We've got to put that back in play eventually, but really hard now. So Democrats, to win the Electoral College, have to win the blue wall. And those three races, those three states showed that it's still intact, even in this environment. Really important for the future of the country.
So the three big losers again, Donald.
Yep.
They all begin with the letter D.
Dobbs, right? And election deniers. And Vaughn Hilliard tweeted this out, very helpful. And I said, pro tip, don't run against democracy. In America, you will lose. And tonight, the GOP governor candidates who refused to say if they'd certified Biden's 2020 election all lost. I had it on my phone. You took it off the screen. I'll put it on my phone again. Tim Michels, Wisconsin. Tudor Dixon, Michigan. Doug Mastriano, Pennsylvania. Oh, my God, Doug, just please go home.
It's time.
All right? Watch Netflix for a couple of months. It's bad. Darren Bailey, Illinois, down. Dan Cox, Maryland, got crushed. Lee Zeldin, beaten. And Carrie Lake right now, oh, my God, she's whining so much.
Carrie is going to whine a lot today. She's going to...
I mean, election deniers got pounded last night.
So what does that say about the American people writ large, but specifically the people on the front lines of those votes in those states? I think there was a lot of question about whether or not they would stand on that wall for democracy and, you know, succumb to the fancy rhetoric and the glossy look that a Kerry Lake would have. And they didn't. They said, no, we are better than this. We know what happened in 2020. And I think the idea of just going further into the crazy, folks just like, I can't. And I think folks are looking for, can we just stop doing stupid? Can we just stop pretending this stuff is real and focus on, and why that's important, Joe, to your point about governors. Everyone focuses on federal elections and Congress. It's the governor's races where the people are closest to those candidates, and they're much more in the mix in terms of the narrative. And that, to me, says a lot. When all of those gubernatorial election deniers go down, it tells me that the American people are a lot more engaged than we believe they are, give them credit for. And that was proven in some of the last pollings that we did here at NBC, where democracy was the #1 issue going into the weekend before the election.
We haven't